Hi guys, welcome to the X Power podcast. This is episode 15, but in this video I wanted to do something a bit different. Rather than, a weekly news show, I wanted to do a definitive guide to kind of all things Xbox, meaning like everything Xbox is doing from their next generation consoles, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, Xcloud, Game Pass, the whole shebang, all of the kind of games coming at the launch of the new consoles and other games that they've announced that's coming in the future. So just start off by saying this video is brought to you by our sponsors, nxtech.co.uk. You can go there for all your gaming and tech needs. We're going to do like a full ad read for them in this video, but do go and check them out. They've got lots of good prices over there. Small UK business, you know what I mean, if you want to go and support them. And they sell all of the current consoles, the next gen consoles, PS5 and Series X and S as well, and a whole range of different games, accessories, everything there, and like PC accessories and other kind of smart devices and different things like that. So go and check them out. And without further ado, we'll get into it. So, starting off, of course, we're on the cusp of a new generation of Xbox, and the Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, both launching on the 10th of November. So we're just like coming up 5 weeks away from the launch of the new systems. So Xbox Series X then is it's a custom RDNA to Zen 2 CPU running at 3.8 gigahertz. You've got 12 teraflops of GPU power. That's a custom Navi GPU. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it's 1 terabyte custom NVMe SSD for the internal storage. And that is coming in at £450 or $4.99 US dollars, €4.99. So that is their high-end machine for 4K gaming, 60 frames per second. And then they have the Xbox Series S, which is a lower spec machine. So it is the same custom RDNA 2 Zen 2 CPU, but it's clocked slightly lower at 3.6 gigahertz. It's targeting 1440p at 60 FPS, so that's why the specs are lower, right? The custom Navi GPU is running at 4 teraflops. Now you might be thinking, well, the Xbox One X is 6 teraflops. Well, being a new graphics processor, it's more efficient, so it is actually better than the Xbox One X. I'm not too up on the technical speak and all of that. But basically, yeah, and again, like the 12 teraflops Xbox Series X is Navi, so it's much more efficient as well. So it's more than double, the graphical power of Xbox One X. So it is, a very substantial jump in terms of graphics power. And the big jump is the CPU. Even Xbox One X still running on that aging Jaguar CPU architecture, and that's why they, on the new generation consoles, they'll be able to reach high frame rate, 60 FPS. Some games getting boosted to 120 FPS. And perhaps there'll be different, kind of graphical options. Maybe you don't want to run at 4K on the Series X, drop it down to 1440p, you can maybe get higher frame rates that way. different options like that, and with the Series S, I suppose they might drop to, I don't know, 1080p to run at higher frames. And of course, both consoles are going to support hardware accelerated ray tracing, and from what I've seen, some of the games they've shown off that this is a feature that you can turn on and off, because ray tracing, although visually looks very, very impressive, it does affect performance, so that might be something. Like, I've seen some of the games are limited to 30 FPS if you want RTX on, so you've got to kind of pick and choose there. We'll really get a better idea of it in the next couple of weeks when we get a look at the next generation games in action, like your Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Dirt 5. I'm going to go through all the kind of games that's coming out at launch, or for the rest of this year for them, and some of the games that coming up in the future. But lots of kind of options, different price points, and the Xbox Series S priced at £250, 299 US, or it's €299. And also the I think I mentioned it's 1 terabyte NVMe SSD in the Xbox Series X, and only 512 gigabytes in the Xbox Series S. So we've got half the amount of storage as well, but they've did that to come in at that lower price point. So, which I've seen, a lot of people kind of concerned about that. I was a bit concerned. I pre-ordered the Xbox Series X. Start with, I managed to get one. They're sold out everywhere now. Microsoft has said that they're going to have more available to pre-order, either at launch or around the launch or whatever. But right now, you can't get the Series X. The Series S is still quite readily available. But then I thought about it, and the other thing that they're doing is this machine learning tech, which basically, as you're using your Xbox, it basically the AI in it. I'm not kind of technically minded, but the way I understand it is the kind of AI kind of learns how to use the components more efficiently as you keep using it, and then that can see a benefit in the graphics, and probably performance as well. But basically what they're saying is on the Nvidia side in the PC, it's called DLSS. I can't remember. It's dynamic light something super sampling, I think that's it. And then what it basically is if you're looking at something in even 1080p, 1440p, and then if you've got a 4K and it's upscaled to 4K, it'd be very difficult to tell the difference between even 1080p upscaled and an 4K image, because it's just getting better at kind of that kind of super sampling tech. That's about the best I can explain it. Go and check out Digital Foundry or an X Gamer, or some of the more kind of technical YouTube channels. I'd recommend checking them out if you want a more in-depth analysis of it. But yeah, pretty much. That's what I thought about when I said, well, Series X £450, Series S 250, 1440p, and I've been playing games between 1440p and 4K on the Xbox One X for not 3 years, because I didn't get it at launch, but maybe 2.5 years. I got it a few months after it came out. And 1440p looks fantastic. It's very, very difficult to tell the difference between 1440p 2K and 4K. Although I do have quite a decent 4K TV, so the upscaling it's very difficult to tell the difference probably between the S and the X. So I decided to go for the S. I cancelled my Series X pre-order and I've ordered the Series S instead. The other thing is like the Series X has a Blu-ray drive. If that's important to you, if you want to play discs, you do need to get the Series X because the Series S is all digital. For me personally, I'm all digital with everything, with films, music, and games. So it didn't really bother me at all. It wasn't really a factor for me. The biggest kind of hang up is the 512 gigabyte SSD. Whether it's going to be big enough, the size of a lot of the games nowadays. But for the most part, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I pre-ordered for launch. Dirt 5 I pre-ordered. Cyberpunk. This is all I pre-ordered a lot of these games because I'd saved like 200 quid on the console. So I pre-ordered some games. But like, what I'm thinking is like, now they've said that the Xbox Series X, it'll have its actual storage is 930 gigabytes. However, you've only got like 800 gig usable, because like there's 130 gigs for the UI. But they haven't said about the Series S. So I'm just assuming that it'll be around the same or whatever. So if it's 512 minus 130, you're probably looking at 380 gig, which looking at this, they're looking at Microsoft's website, some of the games like Assassin's Creed came in at 60 gig. I think Dirt 5 was 78 gig. So but most kind of games kind of range in there, right? I think Cyberpunk is 70 gigs as well. But like most kind of games range in there between like 60 and 80 gig for your big kind of AAA games. So if you think of it that way, even taking it like the worst case scenario, 80 gig a game, you may be looking at probably like 4 games you can fit on that SSD, which it's more than enough really to have on it to have playing. Like at launch, I'll have Assassin's Creed, Dirt 5, and Destiny 2 on because me and my mates are going to jump in and play Destiny 2 Beyond Light, the new expansion, and that's coming like day one on Game Pass for the launch of the console. So I'll have those 3 games installed on it, and you can still use your external hard disk drive. I've got a 3 terabyte external hard disk drive, so I'm going to use that. You can just store games on there. You can play, because the new consoles are fully backwards compatible with like Xbox One, 360, or original Xbox, and you can play those games from your external hard drive still, right? They work just fine. Still going to benefit from better graphics, higher resolution, and higher frame rates with those. But you won't be able to take advantage of faster loading because it's obviously loading from the external hard drive still. So it might see a bit of improvement, I suppose, with the the faster processor and things, but Jason Ronald, the architect that's in charge of developing these systems, said that in order to take full advantage of the fast loading that you might have seen in some of the other press and YouTubers, have got the Series X and they've been showing some of the backwards compatible games off. like, you've got games that's loading in like 10 seconds and 20 seconds and stuff like that, instead of like a minute or two on the Xbox One consoles. So you won't see that improvement if you run your back-compat games from an external hard drive. But I did see one test, I think it was Jeff Grubb, where he was running it from an external SSD. But I think it was an NVMe SSD he was running in like a USB mount that you can buy for him, and like we were still getting quite fast load times using that. So I don't know, that might vary, but just going back to the storage, I thought, well, I'm not going to play any more games at one time anyway, right? I usually have a single player game, I have a racing game, and I have a multiplayer game at any one time. So I'm going to play Assassin's Creed for months probably, playing through that game, and then Cyberpunk I've got ordered, so that'll probably be next. So I'll delete Assassin's Creed when I've finished it, and then install Cyberpunk. So I don't think it will be too big of an issue. Although Microsoft do have additional storage that you can buy. It's like an expansion card SSD that you plug into the back of the new consoles. It gives you an extra 1 terabyte of storage. However, they are costly. It's like £220. Still 220 USD, 220 euros. So there's no exchange rate whatsoever on them. But they are very expensive. So if you want additional storage, it is gonna run you. But the only, well, I wouldn't say the only game, but like a big game that does take up a lot of space is Call of Duty. Like Modern Warfare, I think is like 180 gig or something crazy. That's quite good to kind of touch on, right? Because like Call of Duty, I think is the first kind of example of this. It's like on the Xbox, and on the new consoles. Jason Ronald was just talking about it on a podcast with Major Nelson, where you can install just the parts of the games that you're going to use. So you can delete. So for taking Call of Duty for example, because Call of Duty already does this on the Xbox One. You can install the campaign, multiplayer, Spec Ops. You can install all of that separately. For example, so if you've played the campaign and you go, right, well, I'm not going to play it again, so you can delete it and free up a bit of space that way. Like for me, I'm not getting the new Call of Duty that's come out, the Black Ops Cold War this year. I think the only thing I'll play, possibly, is occasionally I might play Warzone. So with that, it's still going to be free to play. I think they're just adding the Black Ops stuff into Warzone. So like with that, I would just install Warzone. So yeah, storage is going to be a kind of issue, and this technology, the NVMe SSDs. Running like the one in the Xbox is running at like 2.8 gigabytes per second, kind of rewrite speed, compared to like an external hard drive, which I think is like 100 megs per second or something like that. So it's a big jump, and with that obviously comes at a cost. But with any luck, these things are gonna be like the new norm for storage. So I think going forward, we should hopefully see that price kind of fall. That's it. So that's pretty much everything for the consoles. And of course, for the last few years, Microsoft have been building out their subscription service, Game Pass. All of their first party Xbox titles come to Game Pass for Xbox consoles and PCs day and date. And now Xcloud, their game streaming service, is out of beta, and you can sign up to Game Pass. Sign up to Game Pass Ultimate, because there's two tiers of Game Pass. There's Game Pass Original, it's just called Game Pass, but it's £8 a month. I think it's $10 US, right? And it just gives you access to all of the games on an Xbox you get Game Pass PC. Like, you can just buy one or the other, if that's all you're after, kind of thing. And that just gives you access to all the games. I think there's like 200 and odd games. There's some really good games on there now, right? There's like Witcher 3, there's Monster Hunter World, there's Nier Automata, Hellblade, and then of course all your kind of first party Xbox games like Gears 5, Halo, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, ODST, Reach, all of the Halos, all of the Forzas, Forza Motorsport 7 was not on there, but it is getting added. I think it's next week. That's one of the new additions coming soon. Doom Eternal just got added to Game Pass. So if you just buy that for £8, $10 a month, you get access to all the games on your Xbox, or you buy the Game Pass PC, you get it on the PC, right? Game Pass Ultimate gives you both of that. It gives you Xbox and PC and Xcloud, so you can play it on your mobile. If you wanna I generally just use it when someone's watching the TV and I maybe want to play a game or two. I stream it on my mobile. I got an 8-bit Dole SN30 Pro for Xbox. It's little it looks like a little Super Nintendo controller. It's really cool. It's £40 for that, and it works absolutely perfectly. Absolutely love it. Definitely recommend that if you do want to use Xcloud. But that's generally what I use it for, is kind of off TV play. But you can just take it anywhere. As long as you've got a decent data allowance on your mobile, you can use it anywhere. Or if you live in most big towns and that, you've got Wi-Fi available in the town centres and stuff, if you're good doing that, or whatever, or if you're going to a hotel, they've got Wi-Fi and stuff like that. Obviously you're not really doing much of that right now in 2020 because COVID, but but it is there if we're ever able to use it again. Oh God, I've lost my train of thought now. I touched on Xcloud, so it's the game streaming, and you can also stream your own games that you own. You do that from your Xbox, so you have to have an Xbox console to be able to stream from that. You can stream your own games, and that you don't have to have Game Pass for that. That's just a free feature of the console, right? You can stream to your from your Xbox to your mobile and play games that way. And I don't know what the coverage is, but you can do it like outside of the house as well. You know what I mean? So that's all of kind of Xbox's platforms. They've got the Xbox consoles, you've got PCs, and you've got cloud gaming. So they're giving you a lot of options. 2 entry points for your next gen consoles, with Series X, Series S. there's a lot of options out there for getting into the ecosystem, right? For however for what you want to do. I mean, a lot of people play on mobiles and stuff. They may want to try out some more what's the word for it? Like more complex games. Mainstream, I guess. But you know, mobile gaming is still one of the biggest markets out there. Um, and some of those people that I'm not a big mobile guy. Like I used to like mobile games, but I'm not really a fan of the kind of freemium model that mobile gaming's kind of adopted. So to be able to play my Xbox games on my mobile, you know, I'm I'm using it a heck of a lot more now than I have done in years now. Like I haven't really played mobile games very much. Um, so I've already kind of touched on some of the games coming out. So day one, you've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So latest entry in the Assassin's Creed series, and it's set in 7th century, 8th century. Oh God, yeah, I think it's 8th century. When the Vikings invaded England. So you're gonna play through that. You're playing as new character Eivor, who's a Viking, and he meets up with one of the assassins, and they give him a hidden blade. But being a Viking, he doesn't want to hide it. He wants to kind of brandish it and scare his enemies with it. And it looks absolutely fantastic. They did announce that it will run at 4K 60 frames per second or 1440p 60 FPS on the Series S, which I was waiting for, because like Assassin's Creed hasn't been the best performance wise on PC. Um, ever, but they've said that it will run at 60 FPS on the new consoles. So definitely looking forward to that. And Dirt 5, I pre-ordered that as well. I cannot wait for it. I've been loving all the preview footage I've seen of it. Love the Dirt series, you know what I mean? And this one kind of reminds me a lot of kind of Dirt Showdown. That was one of my favourites on the 360. One of my favourite Dirt games. It's got a lot of variety. It's got like doom buggies, and there was like a rock climbing truck. It was like climbing up a big blooming mountain or something. And you've got kind of rally stages, point to point. I was watching one. It was a point to point race, rally cars going through mud and going through the water, and you see the mud and the water spraying everywhere. Just awesome kind of particle effects and all that. And it reminded me of the Sega Rally, the reboot for the 360, because it had really good kind of mud tech and all that in it that. It kind of brought that back, so I'm looking forward to that. Also coming day one, you've got a number of like Game Pass titles from kind of smaller studios launching into Game Pass day one. So you've got Bright Memories Infinite. What is it? It's like a first-person shooter, and it's kind of futuristic. The car looked like a bit like a DeLorean. It looked pretty cool. There's also it's a weird looking game. There's like people with swords that look like they're kind of medieval or something. So I don't know if there's time travel going on there or what's going on, but it looks cool. Be free on Game Pass. You can check it out. So we've got Tetris Effect Connected's coming day one into Game Pass. I'm looking forward to that. I've always got a puzzle game, kind of go-to puzzle game. This generation, it's been Peggle 2 throughout the whole gen. I don't play a lot of them, but I just tend to have like a go-to one that I go back and play every so often. And I think Tetris Effect Connected is going to be that game for for this generation. For what I'm seeing of it anyway. And I mean, I know Tetris, you know what I mean? So I know I'm gonna like it. um, so yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Now I've looked at the campaign version and it does look good. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not really ready for another Call of Duty yet. I did play the Modern Warfare campaign not long ago. I was kind of achievement hunting, to be honest, in it, and I was playing through it again. It's a really solid campaign. I enjoy it. Um, and never say never. I'll probably pick up Call of Duty at some point to play the campaign, and maybe get back into the multi. I don't know. Right now, I'm not feeling it. I've not really played Warzone in quite a while. But I may be back, and I might want to give the new game a whirl when it goes on sale or whatever. But that is coming up on the 13th of November, so it's just like 3 days after launch. And then on the 19th, you've got oh, sorry, I skipped one. Watch Dogs Legion is coming on the 10th of November as well. It's another launch title. So it's set in London, and it's kind of big thing that they're pushing is that you can play as any kind of NPC. You can go and recruit anybody on the street, kind of thing. Like if you've played Watch Dogs before, when you point your phone at them, it comes up with like profiles and tells you all about them and all that. We can do that and then figure out how you can like recruit them into what do you call it, DedSec. Your kind of hacker group or whatever. So not something I really enjoyed Watch Dogs 2, but what I've seen of this one, I'm not really sure. Again, maybe I'll pick it up on the sales or something, but I think I'll be playing Assassin's Creed for months, so like I'm not gonna get Watch Dogs just yet. But that is coming out if you're looking forward to that. On the 19th, then you've got Cyberpunk, which a lot of people are incredibly hyped for. I'm as well. I've got it ordered, but again, I'll probably play an Assassin's Creed first, and then that'll be kind of my next game, next big single player game I want to get stuck into. And then trying to think if there's any other major releases. No, I don't think there's anything else in November. But then after that, you have got Dragon Quest 11 S. I think definitive. I can't remember the full title, but it's like a repackaged version of Dragon Quest 11, with like new. I don't know. I think it's got like a load of new content in it and stuff like that. And it's like an next gen version of it. Although it's coming out on the Xbox One as well, but that is coming into Game Pass day one on the 3rd of December. So I've never played a Dragon Quest RPG before. I only played Dragon Quest Builders, the first Dragon Quest Builders game, and I quite enjoyed that. So I enjoyed the like characters and stuff. So because it's on Game Pass, I'm gonna check it out, and see what's what. So that is coming out. I know, a lot of people enjoy the Dragon Quest games. It's a very popular JRPG series. So that's coming into Game Pass 3rd of December as well. And then you've got Immortals. I have to blame the name of this thing now. Immortals Phoenix Rising, formerly known as Gods and Monsters. So that's another Ubisoft game. And like it has a kind of colourful art style similar to Zelda Breath of the Wild. He copies a heck of a lot from Zelda, I think. But it looks really, really cool, and I definitely want to play it at some point. That's probably one I'll look at buying first in the kind of Christmas sales, and kind of saving that for, another big single player game to get stuck into at some point. So it's ancient Greece, I think, again. Where you're fighting loads of like mythological monsters like minotaurs and Cyclops and different things like that. Looks really, really fun. Then I don't think there's anything else this year, like for the rest of this year. The next game that I'm looking forward to is in the 21st of January. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time is getting a remake from the ground up. Ubisoft just announced that recently, and it looks really great. Love the original game, so I think I'll probably pick that one up. Yes, say 21st of January for that. I think same day Hitman 3 comes out as well. And then on the 18th of February, Far Cry 6 is coming out then, and they've only really kind of had the announced trailer. They haven't really shown the game off yet. Just kind of showed a cinematic trailer. But when I was ordering games, I thought, right, well, I've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That'll last me months. I've got Cyberpunk to play after that. So I was like, well, I don't really know any more games for this year, really, that I want to jump in and kind of pre-order or whatever. So I just went and pre-ordered Far Cry 6. Because, I like Far Cry. I've enjoyed playing all of them. Well, Far Cry... I did play Far Cry 2. Actually, I did play it, but the first one I played actually was Far Cry 3. I didn't play Far Cry 2 till afterwards, so it wasn't as good as 3. 3 was amazing. That's still the best one for me in the series. I did enjoy Far Cry 4, 5, Far Cry Primal. So I think Far Cry 6, pretty safe bet. It's supposed to be like a prequel to Far Cry 3. So I'm sure I'll enjoy that. But, it's a pre-order, so I can always cancel it and change my mind. But I'm fairly certain, with Far Cry games, I know what I'm getting, and I'm going to enjoy it. So I just went and pre-ordered it. It's like I had money left, and there was nothing else I really wanted to pick up from this year's sort of lineup. So I think that's... Oh, and there's Nier Automata. Nier Replicant. It's like a remake of the first Nier game. I've seen that announced. They showed off a bit of gameplay. It looks fantastic. I'll probably be picking that one up. And that's coming out in April. I think there might be... Oh, I know what I missed. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories is actually a launch title coming on the 10th of November. I missed that one out. Or it might not be. It might be like the week after. Can't remember, I forget, but I love Kingdom Hearts as well, yeah. And I forgot that one. But it's a bit different. It looks like a kind of rhythm action game. You kind of do battles by pressing the buttons and timing the music. So it looks a bit different. I love Kingdom Hearts, so I will probably pick it up at some point. But I haven't pre-ordered or anything. I'll probably wait for the sales again on that one. Something that I might look at picking up if it goes on a good sale. So that's all of your games that's coming out. Either at launch or within the next few months. And so for the future then, Xbox have announced quite a lot of their kind of lineup. But it looks like for the next maybe... there's some games coming next year. Other ones probably are maybe 2 or 3 years out yet. But for a few years now, there's been Fable rumoured from Playground Games. They finally announced that earlier this year. And, well, I mean, We don't know how long that's away, but I'd say it's at least 2 years away, maybe more. But I'll be very, very much looking forward to that. Absolutely love Fable, and it's a new team. It's basically a new studio. Oh, it's Playground Games that makes Forza Horizon. They basically made a brand new studio that's making the game, and they hired a bunch of talent from like Rockstar and Rocksteady and a number of other talented studios that they've hired people from to build out their new action RPG team for Fable. They have announced a new game from Obsidian that's coming out. It's called Avowed. It is set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, but it is a first-person RPG, action RPG, in an Elder Scrolls type of style. Don't know if it's open world or anything. We don't know yet, but it's definitely going to be in first person, and rather than their kind of classic RPG Pillars of Eternity games where it's kind of an isometric kind of viewpoint you've got. And then In Exile are working on a big new RPG. We don't really know anything else about it really yet. All we can do is kind of speculate that. Actually, I'm gonna jump to the Bethesda acquisition. So, if you're watching this, you've probably seen Xbox or Microsoft purchase ZeniMax Media as a parent company of Bethesda, and so they now have the Fallout series, and they have Obsidian, they have NXL, so they have NXL who curated Fallout, and originally it was a classic RPG isometric type game, and Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas, which a lot of people regard as the best Fallout, so that's kind of exciting. Maybe NXL will make a new Fallout game? Question mark. Who knows? But they are working on a big new RPG. And what else do we know about? Oh, of course, Halo Infinite. It was planned to be a launch title, but it's been delayed into 2021. A lot of the kind of community thinks that it'll be delayed until until November to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Halo, which that's a possibility. Could be the big fall game for next year. They've announced Forza Motorsport, dropping the number from the title, just going Forza Motorsport, and it seems to be this is going to be a kind of platform for Forza rather than, release new sequels. They want to just release one title and then keep that player base together and keep adding to the game from there. Don't know when that one's coming out. I thought it was going to be next year, but some other people have said that it'll probably be 2022 at the earliest before that comes out. But we'll see as time goes on. We get more information about it. Because possibly we could see another Forza Horizon next year. We haven't had a new one now for a couple of years. So that could be the 2021 Forza. It could be Forza Horizon 5, maybe. There's a bunch of rumours for a while about it being set in Japan, but we shall see. What else have been announced? The Coalition It hasn't been announced, but it's rumors saying that they're working on some new IP other than Gears. They will be making Gears 6 as well, definitely. There'll definitely be another Gears game, probably in the next 2 or 3 years or whatever. Probably be at least 3 years actually. It's Gears 5. Gears 5 just came out last year. Wow. So probably be a few years before the next Gears game. But the way Gears 5 ended, without kind of going into spoilers, it made it kind of obvious that they were going to do a new game. It's a big series, they're going to get a sequel anyway, but just the way it ended, they have to kind of follow that up to kind of conclude that part of the story. Kind of ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. And then we have the Bethesda acquisition, which just opens up a whole load of other possibilities. Starfield, Bethesda's big new IP they've been working on for a number of years already. Possibly, it's people talking about it coming next year. I mean, I don't know, but that would be awesome if it came out next fall or something. It's another big fall game along with Halo. Would be kind of funny to have two kind of sci-fi games together, but very, very different. One being like a shooter and the other one being, an RPG. But it is a kind of space exploration role-playing game in kind of Bethesda's kind of first-person open world type of style. So that'll be exciting. And then they've announced Elder Scrolls 6, but that'll probably be a few years away yet. I would probably say id probably making another Doom, I guess. They'd probably be making a new Doom, or I mean, who knows? I mean, I haven't seen the love for Quake in quite a while. So could be a new Quake maybe they make next. Who knows? And then we've got Wolfenstein. Possibly a third Wolfenstein game, maybe something else from Machine Games, and Arcane. I don't think. Yeah, they haven't said what they're working on, so it might be another Dishonored, might be a Prey sequel, or I think the Prey sequel probably seems most likely, unless they make another new IP. But I think a Prey sequel would probably be the most likely one for them. And then they've got a couple of new teams. They've got they've got Tango Gameworks as well. One of the other established studios that makes The Evil Within. It's headed by Shinji Mikami, the great Resident Evil. Possibly there'll be an Evil Within 3, I guess, unless they want to make something new as well. And then Bethesda recently brought in two new studios. They've got Alpha Dog and Roundhouse. And we don't know what they're working on. So they're potentially working on new IPs, or hell, they might even be working on Xbox IPs at this point. They could be working on anything. They could be working on some of Bethesda's IPs. They could be working on Xbox's IPs, or they could be making something brand new. So that is exciting as well. Obviously, we don't really know what they're working on, what the time frame is, but we will have new games coming from them in the not too distant future. And I think that about wraps it up, guys. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to go through everything, the Xbox are doing. Tell you about the new consoles, tell you about the games that's coming out, Xcloud, Game Pass. Obviously, you can play everything on your PC, as well if that's what you want to do. Rock on. It is all the one ecosystem. That's what they're driving at. Like they just want you into the ecosystem to play the games. They don't really care where you play them. As long as you're in there and playing them, and if you want to subscribe to Game Pass, then it's a fantastic offering. So yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, there's something I'm forgetting about, but it's not coming to me. So yeah, so I think that's about it, guys. So that's everything that's coming. Say from launch, in the next few years, and it's actually it's kind of encouraging to see from Xbox that they've announced some of their future plans again. So obviously, canceling like Scalebound and Fable Legends and that before. Where they announced those games years in advance, and then they had to cancel them, and then Phil Spencer said that he wasn't going to announce games too early. Oh my God, Hellblade 2. Just that's what I was hung up on. Hellblade 2. It's Hellblade 2: Senua's Saga. So it's a sequel to Senua's Sacrifice, and we don't really have a time frame on that either. Haven't seen too much. We've seen a very impressive looking kind of in-engine cinematic trailer for it. It looked impressive, but again, it's probably a while off. Probably at least 2 years, maybe. Maybe a 2022 game. Either like end 2022, beginning 2023, something like that, for that game. I think they did say they used Unreal Engine 5, so probably is at least 2, maybe 3 years away. But that is coming as well. But more to my point, like they've announced a lot of these games from these studios. There's still a lot of the Bethesda one I've mentioned that we don't know about what they're working on, and then they've got another 6 studios. I think that we don't know what they're working on. And State of Decay 3 is a game that's been announced. Yeah, like Compulsion. Trying to think. Say In Exile, we don't know what they're working on. Otherwise, it's a big new RPG. Probably be DLC for Wasteland 3, maybe. As well. That could be coming out next year. I'm looking forward to playing that on the Xbox Series S. Because like they had some kind of performance issues, and the load times were really long on the Xbox One X for Wasteland 3. So I'm really looking forward to playing. I've completed it. I did a playthrough, but it's there's so many choices in that game. You can play through it so many different ways. So I'm looking forward to playing through that again, and with hopefully much better load times. Because load times were the big thing that kind of hampered my experience of it. They are really long. So I'm looking forward to that. And I feel like I'm blanking on some of the studios, but they haven't announced games. I think they did say 6 studios were still to announce games, which is nuts. So we could have more stuff filling out the blanks like next year and the year after from those 6 studios. Phil Spencer mentioned before he wanted a new exclusive kind of game every 4 months or something. For Game Pass. Continue feed of new games coming out, and kind of keeping you subscribed, keeping giving you the content to keep you subscribed. But time will tell on that. Like I said, the stuff that they've shown, they haven't shown very much about most of these games yet. So it's hard to tell, like how long it's gonna be before they come out. And it is a shame not to have Halo at launch, but I do respect the decision to delay it. If they don't feel it was going to be ready. And I feel like I've got enough third-party games anyway, as I say. So Assassin's Creed at launch, then I'll move on to Cyberpunk, just single-player games here. Then like Far Cry 6, I say, I'm going to get Nier Replicant, the new Nier game. And then we'll see what comes out after that. But there seems to be a constant supply of new kind of third party games until we get to the first party stuff coming up. So that's it. And obviously they've got games like Grounded as well, Minecraft Dungeons, that will all kind of move forward along with all the kind of third party service game stuff. It's all going to kind of move forward with the new consoles. And the other thing that I didn't mention was smart delivery. Like Assassin's Creed, Cyberpunk, Dirt 5. You can see now some of the games have started to come up on the Xbox store. They've got a little XS badge on them. That means they're optimized for Series X and Series S. So that means there's a next gen version of them, and that's smart delivery. It means you buy it once and you own it. So if you're still playing Xbox One, then you can buy a game, and then later on you upgrade to a Series S or a Series X. You still you own those games, but not only that, you own the optimized version, the new next gen version of them. You just get that as a free update. So that's another cool thing that the Xbox are doing. And again, it's dependent on the third parties whether they implement that or not. But most of them seem to be on board with it. Far Cry's doing it as well. Try to think what else. I mentioned Cyberpunk. Dragon Quest, one that I mentioned, is coming into Game Pass. So there's a lot of support for it there, for just getting free next gen upgrades. There are some kind of companies that have decided no, we want you to, buy the new gen version. So they've got kind of different editions, like Call of Duty. I think, like, instead of £60, you pay £65, and that gets you like on the next gen. So it's like a £5 to upgrade, sort of. Which I kind of don't mind, because like Call of Duty did away with a season pass. They just give you like 3 DLC now, which is cool. So I guess that kind of compensates for having to pay a £5 for a new gen version if they're putting a lot of extra effort into it to make it better. But the majority of the games you just get kind of free updates, which is excellent. And yeah, so that pretty much it. So that's my kind of definitive guide to all things Xbox in the very near and not too distant future coming up. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, give me a like. If you do enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out a lot. And thanks for watching, and I will catch you again next time. Alright guys, bye now, bye.